Hey guys, gonna give you guys a little bit of a 4 p.m. update. Sorry I haven't given you much more today. Jim Turney and I basically spent most of the day and afternoon reviewing the text of the bill as it stood this morning. And we are currently going into the Capitol now to talk to a few senators with some points that we found, and then also try to see if we can't get an updated or early copy of basically what's going to be going on with this bill and what we're going to be seeing for the text. So a couple things that we found and sort of a direction that we're going to be heading with this is twofold. One, we don't want the bill to pass, obviously. There's definitely some portions of this bill that need to get cut out before it's a decent bill. But the other portion of it is if this is going to pass, and it looks like they are definitely trying to get something that they can push through both the House and the Senate, we need to make sure that this bill is as airtight legally as possible, so it hurts as few people as possible while actually doing the job that it was supposed to do. So we're going about it two different ways. We really want the 21 restrictions to get removed, and we also want to make sure that, you know, medical records and stuff like that are retained. And then there's also some ex parte stuff that we'll get into in a second that's basically on this bill right now. And the way the wording stands, you can tell they basically didn't spend a lot of time writing it because they wanted to get it into committee so they could discuss it. So a couple of the main points that we're actually going in to talk to some of the senators right now, and sorry for the sun as I'm walking over to the Capitol here. One of the biggest things is the ex parte clause. So if you're not familiar with that, ex parte basically stands for no parties are needed to be there at the decision process when decisions are made by the court for them to be able to come into your house. So what this allows officers to do is, if they show up on the scene and they believe that you are abusive, you are a danger to yourself, they are a danger for other people, you know, you present a danger to the populace as well. Basically, what this allows them to do is look at, sorry, trying to cross the road right now, allows them to look at the situation, call on the phone to a judge, prove that they are an officer, and then allow them to basically get an ex parte entry into your house so that they can come and take your weapons. So, two things about this section of the bill that we really have issue with. One, it is only defined as a reasonable belief that harm will be done. And then it also allows that any guns kept in the residence. So this is a big stickler, especially for someone like me who rents. Any guns kept in the residence doesn't necessarily specify what the term possession means, kept in the residence, or anything else like that. So it is potential that if someone comes for domestic violence, and let's say my roommate and his girlfriend get into it, and there's a domestic violence, they potentially could come into my room and take my guns, well, because they're in the residence. And it is up to the police officer's discretion, which means I would have to then go through legal process. The other issue with that is you are asking a police officer to make a reasonable decision without due process, and that's the whole point of ex parte. Now, the good points of this is it does allow for the fact that within 14 days, they are required to give you a court hearing so that your items can return, although you do have to go to court. So at least there's a little bit of due process after the fact thrown into it. I will say, once you have been arrested and become a ward of the state for however long of a period of time, it does require after that point for anybody wanting to take anything else out of your house. So if you have more guns or ammunition or anything like that, it requires them to go to the courts and actually get a warrant to enter your house. So the only way, really, the sticking point on this for the Fourth Amendment is the ex parte part. So officers have to make decisions and then can just call into a judge and instantly enter the court right there without providing evidence or anything else like that. It's basically going to be up to the discretion of the officers, and then the discretion of, you know, the sheriff's office on how they want to enforce and what sort of thoughts they have on that process. So that's really one of our biggest concerns with this bill. One of the other points is, obviously the 21 law makes it illegal for anyone under the age of 21 to purchase an item or purchase a firearm. It also makes it illegal for a licensed dealer to sell you a firearm. However, if you are not a licensed dealer, so you're at a gun show or you're selling private to private, it provides no stipulations that you have to check someone's ID before you sell it to them. So, not saying that there's a loophole in that rule, but the fact that, if we're really trying to make guns safe, why, when someone can get a background check at a licensed dealer, would you make it so that they would want to go to a non-licensed dealer to get a gun? It's just, it's terrible wording in the law, and it's stupid. I mean, personally, I really would rather see the law say something more along the lines of, if you're under the age of 21, you really need to go and, get maybe like a permit or something like that, or prove that you have some sort of training on a weapon before you purchase it. Okay, it's like a driver's permit. You go, you prove that you at least know how to kind of use the item and stuff like that, so that, you prove that you're a responsible adult, whatever. If that's really the sticking point, that you don't believe that they're responsible adults, and you say that, okay, well, the military can have it because they have training, well, then let's give training to people who are under 21. Let's give training to people so that they know how to use things, so that they can be responsible. Isn't that the whole point? Isn't responsibility what we're really trying to go for here? So that's a big sticking point for us. You've got a couple other smaller items and some of the wording and stuff like that on the way they do things. So that's what Jim and I are doing right now. We're about to head into the Capitol building. As you can see, beautiful Capitol building here. We're about to head in, go talk to some senators, and try to get some of that verbiage changed, and then also try to get some stuff taken out, so that we actually make this bill a fair bill. The one last thing that I want to let you all know, I apologize, this eluded me until we actually read the new bill. In the Rules Committee, they voted down making bump stocks illegal, but apparently in Appropriations, after it left Rules Committee, they voted up to allow the banning of bump stocks. Not just the banning of bump stocks for sale, but the banning of bump stocks for ownership, importation, transportation, transfer, and basically any other verbiage you can have. So if you own a gun stock, or you are thinking about getting a gun stock, if they pass this bill, it's going to be illegal. So, just so you know, bump stocks, they're taking them out. They did keep assault weapons, semi-automatics, and stuff like that out of the bill. They kept a couple of other things out of the bill and stuff like that. So overall, it's not terrible. It actually does allow for abusive situations and stuff like that, for guns to be taken out of situation. It does require due process for mental health instability and stuff like that. It does require due process after the ex parte. So if you want to go into someone's home and you need to provide evidence and stuff like that, it absolutely requires that you go through and get due process, other than if a police officer shows up at a situation and someone's abusive or combative or something like that. So not great, but at least they're going in the right direction with due process. So it's not just a across the board ban. There is a some sort of language in there to help that out. So that is okay. Jim and I were talking about arming teachers and stuff like that, and what could go wrong. One of the things that kind of scares us about the teacher bill is the fact that the way that teachers are supposed to carry their weapons is in a holster in a concealed manner. So rather than making it safe, having it in a, let's say a lock safe or something like that, so that students can't actually get it, it's possible for a 120-pound teacher to be overpowered by a football player, their gun taken, and, students could do something. So I don't really like the fact that it doesn't have a provision for teachers to actually keep it in a lockbox as a responsible gun owner. I don't think that was a good choice on their behalf, and it's something we're going to talk to a couple people about and get their opinion on it. Maybe they have different opinions on it and stuff like that. Maybe it was rewritten to this point. We don't actually know yet. A couple of other things, it just the way that they've written some of these things, you can tell they took text out of other bills. So handguns are already illegal for 21-year-olds to purchase currently, or 21 and under. So the crazy thought about that is they literally just took the wording from that, put it into this bill, and didn't have the foresight to change the words from handgun to firearms. So you can see where they actually had to go and cross out in the Rules Committee the verbiage from an old bill to make it plausible for a new bill. I kind of found that a little humorous. And just small changes like that where you can tell this was crafted way too quickly. You can tell they're trying to push this through. They're meeting tomorrow on a Saturday when normally they would have just gone home and been back here on Monday. This thing is getting pushed through. They are listening to your voices. They are hearing you. Keep emailing them. Let them know that you want people under 21 to responsibly be able to own guns. You want people to be responsibly able to do things. Ex parte is going to violate someone's Fourth Amendment rights. Oh, the big other sticking point that we're going to talk to them to that I really, really disapprove of is basically what it allows people to, you know, like let's say an officer, for instance, makes a false statement. He doesn't like you, you're in a small town, he doesn't like who you are, you're under the age of 21 or something like that, and they don't like you. So what they're going to do is they're going to call up and make a false statement, okay, to the courts so that due process can be done, let's call it that, and then they come and take your guns. Well, once the court finds out that that's a false statement, it's only a misdemeanor. So they're allowed to come into your home, take your private property, go through this whole process, and if a cop who's supposed to be a law enforcement officer lies to the court to illegally come and take your property, it is only a misdemeanor. We really need to start passing laws that hold police officers just as accountable as you know, as normal citizens. It's only fair. If you are a felon for purchasing a gun under the age of 21, for simply purchasing it, you did nothing else other than taking ownership of something, yet a cop can lie to a court as a law enforcement officer, and all it is a slap on the wrist misdemeanor. Doesn't make sense. So we are definitely going to go in. We're going to fight this stuff. We're going to go, you know, try to get some of this verbiage changed. I just want to give you guys a little bit of an update. We just read 73 pages of of bill and text and everything else like that. So a little tired. Going to enjoy some AC. It's if you can't tell, a absolutely beautiful day up here in the Capitol. And we're going to be looking out for you. So if you have any questions, you want to know about anything, feel free to message out to LPOC or myself if you have my personal contacts and stuff like that. I will definitely bring it to people. Again, if you want me to deliver any letters, any messages, anything like that, I would be happy to walk into your senator's office and let them know what you think. So reach out to me, let me know. I'm here for you guys. This is why I'm here. You know, that's what we're doing. So let me know. Other than that, for all of you coming up on Sunday, can't wait to see you. I will try to give you guys an update tonight of what we found, and if I can get my hands on a new bill before it hits that floor, you better believe I'm going to read through it and let you know what changed. So go ahead and you know, send me your love, send me your support, and I'll see you guys in a few hours. Thanks, guys.